So this is a reflection, partially in connection with um, Hans Johansson's readings of the book by Joachim Schulte, um, Experience and Expression, which is dealing with the later notebooks of Wittgenstein. Possibly this can change the way we may hear Heidegger's word Ereignis. So Wittgenstein gives a clear entry into his saying, his ostensibly enigmatic saying that if a lion could speak, we couldn't understand it. And at the same time shows that this reflection of his is very close and directly connected to his enigmatic saying that there can be no private language. The remark he makes is the following: that which is not teachable cannot be a part of language. Those aren't the exact words, but I believe they correctly express the meaning, which comes to us in a slightly different formulation, but the formulation itself is a translation, I believe, out of German into English. So either way, we're dealing with we're not dealing letter atom with what he said, but with something which purports to express what he's saying. So this links us to a Socratic question, and perhaps the Socratic question par excellence, which appears in the Apology of Socrates. Parenthetical statement: Leo Strauss says the Apology of Socrates contains the word Socrates in the title, whereas no other Platonic work contains the word Socrates in the title. For example, the book we translated as The Laws is called the Nomoi. It doesn't say the Nomoi of the Athenian stranger or the Nomoi of Socrates. This question in the Apology appears in the form of Socrates mentioning to the, I believe, 400 or so assembled under the democracy in Athens, who found him guilty, when he says that if there were a sage who would appear amongst the Athenians, he would imitate that sage. Imitate in the context of Plato and Socrates in general means imitate rather than learn from something which is reliably teachable and which can be transmitted to the next generation in a reliable way. So remember, the core theme of the Platonic works is this question of since we're surrounded by corrupt and stupid individuals who cannot be reformed, the only solution is to start early and to have the proper education. The difficulty then is whether what we want is teachable. So occasionally, of course, you have very talented people who do things well, including govern states well. But is the governance of a city, country, or polis something that is teachable, at least to some proportion of the population? So there's this great problem of the teachable and that which exists. So we know that certain things exist which are at least in appearance better, but we can't reliably reproduce them. If we superimpose Aragnes over this problem, we see what I was also I point you to my article on logical authoritarianism on my Substack, Essay Delendum Substack, Logical Authoritarianism, where I propose the notion that the movement from speech into technical language, which is to say into things which can be reliably learned, is the origin of what we call language. Otherwise, you have something which we could superimpose over the communications of crows or the communications of chemical signals of ants, in something like the way that it's said that fur and hair are the same biologically, but different for those that learn the difference. By which it's very important to stop here and notice that here I don't want to say, as Husserl constantly seems to propose, that there's a nature in which the biological facts are the bedrock and then other things step out of them, but rather that biology too is a technical field which can be learned, and reliably so. By the way, I'm partially making an experiment in using Hans Johansson's method of, as it strikes me, leaving room for reflection, so that in speaking slower we have more time to think about the content. It's just an experiment, if you like.